Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I am Laura, and this is Rambling Brambles DIY. I want to thank everybody for coming here. I want to welcome back all of my old subscribers, and if you're new here, welcome, and take a moment to check out my other videos and click on that subscribe button and click the little bell icon. We're going to take these Dollar Tree welcome signs for your yard, and we're going to turn them into an actual windmill. I picked up like 3 of these, and we're going to use some paintbrushes, some Mod Podge, and some Waverly Antique wax. And also along with that, we're going to be using some of the tumbling tower blocks. We use almost the entire box of these, so make sure you have plenty on hand if you do what I did. And this morning, my cup of coffee is "You're my person," because you're all my people, and I appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for showing your support by watching my videos. So let's get into this. I had a really struggle. I wanted to take the welcome off from this. I couldn't get it to come off. Normally you can pop this stuff off. I even took my nippers and thought, okay, I'm just going to nip this off. And I'll tell you, this was strong. It wouldn't come off. I even twisted around thinking I could wear it down and snap it off. I couldn't. I did get the post part to snap off, and later on you'll see that after getting that post off, I could snap off the welcome part, and I saved that for later. I started out by taking and building the base that's going to support the windmill by using 2 sets of the Waverly, 2 sets of the tumbling tower blocks by 2, and just gluing them into kind of a square, or 2 by 1, and gluing them into a square. I had a problem with the using the E6000 today. No matter what I did, every time I tried to use it, it would just fall apart. Even with the hot glue, it wouldn't hold. So I gave up on that and just used the hot glue because it's only going to be in my house. Here I took 2 more strips, 2 lengths of 2 blocks, and I glued them down together to help hold the top part of the windmill upright. And now I'm building the base. The base is going to be a 3 by 2, so I'm going to need 2 strips of 3 to start with, and then 2 strips of 2, and build my base frame. And you're going to need, actually, I think this is the legs actually. So I'm building 4 legs of, I believe I used 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, 4 blocks. And then I'm going to go ahead and build the base. The base is the 3 by 2. And glue them all together and make the square with them. And then after I have that together and glued down sturdy and give them all a minute to set so they're good and hard, I play around with it to see how exactly these are all going to fit together. And you can see here I'm deciding on exactly how to put them in. And I knew that they were going to need additional support, so I made 2 more strips of 2, and I glue them in place on the base. And then I work with the top part and playing around with it, deciding how I'm going to support the top of them, because they're going to come from the top down into the bottom, and glue them in place the support pieces in place like that. And then I start assembling the legs into the top piece and gluing them all in, giving them a moment to get nice and sturdy before I start gluing the two pieces together. And this is just a lot of patience and taking your time. And now I'm working at getting the bottom together. And then I made another set of blocks to help support and to help glue these all together. So I made 2 more strips of 3 to go across inside and glued that down. This gave it more support underneath, so you're actually going to see it. It's not underneath the whole thing, but I made 2 more strips, set them inside, and glued this all in place, and this helped hold it together. Underneath, I actually glued on, as you can see here, little feet that you don't see from the front, but you see from the sides, and I did that on all 4 corners. So there's little blocks underneath where the legs come down, and that helps give support from underneath. I go ahead and I check to see how that fits. There's a little piece of metal sticking out, and I went ahead and clipped that off, and then I added hot glue inside of the little slot, and I set my windmill piece down into that slot. And then I took an extra piece of block and I put hot glue on it, a generous amount, and I set that down over top of where the slot is, and that is going to give it support so it can't just be lifted up out. And then I decided to go ahead and put blocks on either side. Now remember, this is supposed to look rustic, and if you go and drive around and look, all of these things, when you see these windmills, boards are lifted up, boards are raised up, boards are just falling off, and they're leaning and stuff. And I'm not sure why some of these are sticking up. I didn't do it on purpose, but I wasn't going to knock it because it actually looks very, very rustic. And you can see here that it turns and it's sturdy. I like how it turned out. And now I'm going to go ahead and get my Waverly chalk paint, the antique wax, and I'm going to just start painting it, and then taking a paper towel and wiping off the excess so that it looks like dark wood. And then and I was on the phone with somebody, and they weren't giving it up. So I was on the phone with them, and I just kept taking my paper towel, put a little bit of paint on it, and then just rub it on, and then brush it off with my finger to just kind of blend it, because I didn't want too heavy of a paint, but I wanted to weather down the antique wax so that it looked old and weathered and worn, like it might have had paint on it at one time, just to kind of give it that old look, like you would see it looking in a field. So here it is all done and setting on my, it's actually setting on top of my record player. I like how this turned out. It is really very, very pretty, very rustic looking. It is really sturdy. I don't know what happened to the footage of me putting the center piece in. It is actually one of the Dollar Tree dowels. I had to cut it down to size and add a couple little pieces in there to hold it in place, but you can see them there. The footage just is nowhere to be found, so you can see it in the middle there, and it just looks old and rustic, like it would look as if it was sitting in a field. The only thing missing is it doesn't have a bunch of vines all over it. So I love how it turned out. I'm actually going to make a couple of more and put them out for sale. These are so cute, very nice looking. I love how the pieces are kind of tipped up and out of place. It makes it look like boards that are just weathered and come loose and buckled over the years with heat and rain and snow. It just turned out really nice. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you.